So, did
बोलो.
session happened after I was there in the last session, or nothing happened?
No, we met once, but we didn't do the video. We just talked.
So I didn't miss
So
anything
you
from
didn't
the.
miss anything.
Actually, you missed a lot.
Yeah, it was a discussion.
I know. I get you. You're correct.
But then I also felt sick and then I was traveling. So now you haven't missed any other video.
Yeah.
Are you better now?
Yeah, much better. But yeah, little tiredness from the travel, but good enough to get back.
Yeah. Also, Manjuji, I love your background. Such a beautiful stone wall. But I should not wait to say, otherwise I'll forget.
Wow, it is quite lovely.
And when you're back in Dehradun, let's meet up, no?
We will. Sure. We might also.
I will give you vegan khana, whole food, vegan khana.
You're a vegan?
Mm.
Ah, very nice.
Oil free. I'll make it oil free.
Okay. No problem. I tried to.
Okay. So just I'll try to do a bit of a summary. I don't think I'll be able to do it very well because it's been a while and I haven't revised actually. So, but I think mostly what we were covering were the different activities of the Jeevan, and he kind of named all of them, but we had discussed only the activities of the man and the vritti, which we've called the mind and the disposition. So, in the mind, there is the selection, tasting and selection, and this selection in the hope of tasting is what selection with the expectation of tasting is being called hope. So overall, what the mind is doing is hope. So it is hoping. And then what the disposition is doing is it is weighing and it is analyzing. And this analysis in order to weigh, compare basically, that is called thought. So what the disposition is involved in are thoughts, thinking. And I don't think we went beyond that. And now we were just discussing actually, yes, what is it? What is all our thinking for? What is all this analysis and weighing for? All thoughts are in order to identify purposes. And if you identify, right now, what we have been doing is we have identified our purpose as simply as, resource indulgence and accumulation. And while doing that, that leads to lack of fulfillment within ourselves. And the purpose we need to identify is what has already been discussed as resolution, prosperity, fearlessness, or confidence in the present, and coexistence. That is harmony all over, multidimensional harmony. So these are the purposes that need to be identified. Whereas the current system of thought, like, for instance, science, that was what was talked about a bit. Science concludes that humans will perish after a point, and so will the earth. And most likely, that is what this sort of thinking, this sort of identified purpose of consumption and overconsumption is leading towards. So science has recognized that this is what it is leading towards, and it has seemingly accepted it also. But what we need to do is, what we need to do in order, if we want to avoid this, if we think that this is something worth thinking about, then we will recognize that our purpose was never consumption and overconsumption. Our purpose was this resolution to coexistence. And because we thought our purpose is consumption, we were living through fear and greed. We were working within the realm of sensitivity, or just based on our sense organs, basically. And that is why we were basically dominated completely by fear and greed. Whereas what we need as an alternative is values and evaluation. And for that, we need to understand. And in that way, we will be able to exist in our relationship, exist with clarity within ourselves, exist within relationships, within society and with the entire planet, the planetary system. So that is what we are working towards. And for that, we need to understand the Jeevan as well as existence and human conduct. So that's where we had sort of paused. Because, so let's see where it goes from here. Yeah, so we had ended at the goal of the human is this: resolution, prosperity, fearlessness, and coexistence. The goal of the Jeevan is happiness, peace, contentment, and bliss. And both of these are achieved through living in orderliness. Orderliness can only be lived out by humans when we understand the natural order, when we understand existence as coexistence. That is the only way we can live in order. And the way we live in order is through recognizing value. So we understand order, therefore we are able to recognize values and we are able to evaluate properly. So this is sort of where we had ended. Now this section is on Jeevan ki 10 kriyaएं or the 10 activities of the Jeevan. Again, so this is just a continuation. Okay.
अभी हम
Fine? Oh.
अभी हम जीवन सहज 10 क्रियाओं को प्रमाणित करने के संबंध में तत्पर हुए हैं, ऐसा मेरा मानना है.
Now, just now, we have become dedicated towards evidencing the Jeevan and its 10 activities. This is what I believe.
तो जीवन होने का स्वीकृति सभी मानव में है ही. जीवन हर व्यक्ति अपने मन से ये कहता ही है, जीवंत हूँ, जीवित हूँ, जीवन है. इस प्रकार की भाषा प्रयोग आदिकाल से भी है.
Now, every human being has this natural acceptance of there being a Jeevan. That is, every person naturally says things like, I am alive, there is some aliveness or consciousness. And this has been recognized since prehistoric time.
किंतु जीवन क्या है, जीवन का अध्ययन करता कौन है, जीवन का अध्ययन से प्रयोजन क्या है, इस पर शोध होना शेष रहा.
However, what is this Jeevan? Who studies this Jeevan? And what is the purpose of studying this Jeevan? The inquiry into these questions is remaining.
इन्हीं तथ्य को उद्घाटित करने की नियति सहज विधि से, जो मानव भी नियति में एक इकाई है ही है, तो स्वाभाविक रूप में मानव का पुण्यवश ही ये सब चीजें उद्घाटित होती आती है. इन्हीं तथ्य को उद्घाटित करने की नियति सहज विधि से, जो मानव भी नियति में एक इकाई है ही है, तो स्वाभाविक रूप में मानव का पुण्यवश ही ये सब चीजें उद्घाटित होती आती है.
Now, it is to Udghatan is like the, what is it? What is the word? किसी चीज का उद्घाटन करना? The opening or something. What do you call those ceremonies where you do Udghatan? You're both muted, I think. Yeah, yes, exactly. Thanks. So, it is to inauguration. So it is the So the inauguration of these facts, the fact of the Jeevan and who studies the Jeevan and what is the purpose of studying the Jeevan. The inauguration of these facts is a process which is natural in Niyati Sahaj Vidhi. Niyati is like almost like destiny, but this is like evolutionary destiny because it's cause and effect, therefore it is destiny. So the inauguration of these facts is natural to destiny because humans are also part of this evolutionary destiny.
So it could also be said karma. No.
No. So because abhi tak, not in this bit actually, but what he's saying could maybe be related to karma after this, which he says that so humans are also part of this evolutionary destiny of the planet. And it is humans who are going to inaugurate these facts because no entity before humans have felt the need. So the inauguration of these facts is natural in the evolutionary destiny because humans are also part of this destiny. And so you could say that the inauguration of these facts is thanks to the good punya of humans. So the thanks to the virtues of humans that we have been able to inaugurate these facts.
जब जब जो जो चीज़ की ज़रूरत पड़ी है शायद है वो उद्घाटित होता रहा, वो अपर्याप्त होने से जो परेशानियां तैयार हुई उसके लिए उपाय पुनः उद्घाटित हुई। ऐसे ही उपायों के क्रम में ये भी एक उद्घाटन है, ऐसा मेरा।
So whenever the need for something arose among humans, all those things began to be inaugurated by humans. And when those solutions were felt to be dissatisfactory, there was a there was a further inauguration of the remaining solutions. So there's been this sequence of inauguration of various facts based on the needs of humans as those needs slowly emerged one by one. And in this sequence of inauguration, the inauguration of these facts are also but one level. This is my, yehi mera.
ऐसे ही उपायों के क्रम में ये भी एक उद्घाटन है, ऐसा मेरा मानना है।
So just as all the other solutions were inaugurated as per the needs that arose, the inauguration of these facts or these solutions are also but one more inauguration in this sequence of inaugurations. This is my belief.
तो इन जीवन की 10 क्रियाएं जिसको मैं भले प्रकार से देखा है और समझा है, जी करके देखा है, ये मुझ में प्रमाणित हुई है। 10
So the 10 activities of the Jeevan, which I have seen thoroughly, which I have evidenced, and something else?
जिसको मैं भले प्रकार से देखा है और समझा है, जी करके देखा है, ये मुझ में प्रमाणित हुई है।
So these 10 activities, which I have seen thoroughly, that which I have understood and which I have checked out through my living, I have been able to evidence them.
10 क्रियाएं मुझ में प्रमाणित हुई है, मैं प्रमाणित करता ही हूँ। मुझको इसमें कोई शंका नहीं है, ना कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, बल्कि खुशहाली की बात।
So all 10 of these activities have been evidenced by me. I evidence these in the present, and I have no doubt regarding this. I have no problems regarding this. And in fact, I have great happiness arising from the fact. In fact, this is a matter of great happiness.
ना कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, बल्कि खुशहाली की बात। जीवन की 10 क्रियाओं का नाम पहले समझ लें। पहले आत्मा आत्मा एक भाग का नाम है जीवन के।
So first, let's understand the names of all the 10 activities of the Jeevan. So the first is the Atma, or which we have translated as soul.
का नाम पहले समझ लें। पहले आत्मा एक भाग का नाम है जीवन के। उसको मध्यांश के रूप में मैंने देखा है, समझा है।
So soul is the name given to one part of the Jeevan. It is just one part of the Jeevan, this soul. And it can be understood as the nucleus of the Jeevan, and that is how I have seen it. I have seen the soul as the nucleus of the Jeevan.
By Jeevan, you
गठन
mean
पूर्ण
your Jeevan
परमाणु
atom.
उसको
Yes, the Jeevan is the Jeevan atom.
आत्मा एक भाग का नाम है जीवन के। उसको मध्यांश के रूप में मैंने देखा है, समझा है। गठन पूर्ण परमाणु के मध्यांश आत्मा नाम से संबोधित किया गया है। ये अपने में क्रियाशील रहता है। उसके प्रथम
So soul is the name given to one part of the Jeevan, which I have understood as the nucleus of the Jeevan, which I have seen and understood as the nucleus of the Jeevan, which is basically the nucleus of this configurationally complete conscious atom.
संबोधित किया गया है। ये मध्यांश आत्मा नाम से संबोधित किया गया है।
So the nucleus of the configurationally complete atom has been addressed as the name soul or Atma.
ये अपने में क्रियाशील रहता है। उसके प्रथम परिवेश, द्वितीय परिवेश, तृतीय परिवेश और चतुर्थ परिवेश के रूप में और बाकी सब क्रियाएं संपादित होते हैं।
And this remains continuously active in itself. And its first orbital, second orbital, third orbital, and fourth orbital are constantly performing their own activities.
और चतुर्थ परिवेश के रूप में और बाकी सब क्रियाएं संपादित होते हैं। मध्यांश के रूप में कार्यरत वस्तु को माने परमाणु अंश का नाम है वो आत्मा।
So the subatomic particle, which is active as the nucleus of this Jeevan atom, of this configurationally complete atom, has been named the soul. That subatomic particle is being named the soul, which is in the nucleus.
ऐसे जो गठनपूर्ण परमाणु चैतन्य परमाणु के मध्य में तो दो ही क्रियाएं हैं हमको समझ में आई है। वो दो क्रियाएं तो इस प्रकार देखा गया है, अनुभव और प्रामाणिकता। प्रामाणिकता का
And in such a configurationally complete atom's nucleus, there are only two activities that I have been able to understand, and those two activities are experience and authenticity or evidenceness. Pramanikta comes from praman, which comes from evidence. Yeah.
धारक वाहक होते हुए देखा गया है और जो इसके अनुभव होता हुआ देखा गया है। ये दोनों क्रियाएं मध्यांश में होती।
So it has been that nucleus has been seen to be the bearer and carrier of authenticity, and it has been seen to be the one who experiences.
जो इसके अनुभव होता हुआ देखा गया है। ये दोनों क्रियाएं मध्यांश में होता है जिसको हम आत्मा कह रहे हैं। दूसरे ये प्रथम
both
परिवेश
these
में
activities happen in the nucleus, which we are calling the soul.
Krishna,
जो
sorry.
क्रिया होता है वो
Once the evidencing and experiencing, these are the two things that happen in nucleus, which is
Yeah,
named as soul.
yeah, yeah. So this evidence and experience together. So evidence on the basis of experience, that itself is being called authenticity. So the three words are Anubhav, Praman, and Pramanikta. Just like there was taste, selection, and hope. So this and the combination of experience and evidence together is what makes up authenticity. Just like tasting and selection together, happening together is what hopes are, and weighing and analysis together is what thoughts are. So this experience and evidence of that experience is what authenticity is. That is happening in this nuclear particle of the Jeevan. So then he starts talking about the first orbital.
दूसरे ये प्रथम परिवेश में जो क्रिया होता है वो दो क्रिया होता है, उसका नाम है बुद्धि और उसका क्रिया है बोध और संकल्प। ऐसा दो क्रिया होती है।
In the first orbital, there are two activities. Its name is buddhi or intellect, and the activities are bodh and sankalp, which we've translated to comprehension and determination. This is the resolve kind of determination. You resolved for something or determined for something.
और दूसरे परिवेश में जो क्रिया है उसका नाम है चित्त, उसमें भी दो क्रिया होती है, चिंतन और चित्रण। तृतीय परिवेश
And the second orbital, its name is vision or chit. That also has two activities, with the names of which are visualization and contemplation.
है चित्त, उसमें भी दो क्रिया होती है, चिंतन और चित्रण। तृतीय परिवेश में जो क्रिया होती है उसका नाम है वृत्ति, उसमें भी दो क्रिया होता है, तुलन और विश्लेषण।
In the third orbital too, there are two activities ongoing. The name of the third orbital is disposition or vritti, and the activities are weighing and analysis.
चतुर्थ परिवेश में जो कुछ भी क्रिया होती है उसमें भी दो क्रिया होता है, उसका नाम है मन। क्रिया है चयन और आस्वादन, अथवा दूसरा विधि से आस्वादन और चयन। इस प्रकार से 10 क्रिया की बात।
In the fourth orbital also there are two activities that are happening. The name of the fourth orbital is man or mind, and the activities are tasting and selection. I just kind of put a link back to the table I had shared in the group, just in case you want to look at it again.
अथवा दूसरा विधि से आस्वादन। नाम है मन। क्रिया है चयन और आस्वादन, अथवा दूसरा विधि से आस्वादन और चयन। इस प्रकार से 10 क्रिया की बात है। ये 10।
Okay, so he said the name of this orbital is mind, and its activities are selection and tasting, or in another way you could say the activities are selection, tasting and selection. So the order is. So in this way, there are these 10 activities of the Jeevan.
10 क्रियाएं जीवन में अविरत रूप है, किंतु प्रमाणित होने की बात है, बारी है। प्रमाणित होने में हम कितना प्रमाणित हुआ मानव जाति, उसको आपको पहले से एक सर्वेक्षण।
So in this way, all 10 activities are functioning, not functioning, are basically active endlessly, constantly. And however, what we are talking about is evidencing these activities. So they are in motion, but they are not being evidenced. So this, what we are discussing is how to evidence all 10 activities.
होने में हम कितना प्रमाणित हुआ मानव जाति, उसको आपको पहले से एक सर्वेक्षण रूप में आपको प्रस्तुत कर दिया है। वो है 4.5 क्रिया।
As far as evidencing, how much have we evidenced this entire human race? About this, I have already presented a sort of survey, the conclusion of which was that we have been evidencing only 4.5 of these 10 activities.
क्रिया को कैसा आधा कर दिया भाई, ये भी एक प्रश्न हो सकती है। इसको मैंने ऐसा देखा है, तुलन में 2 पद्धति है, एक प्रीहित।
And how have we divided an activity into 2? That is also a question that can be asked. And in that, the answer is that in weighing, there are 2 ways to be weighing. Is the video actually stuck or is it like this?
देखा है, तुलन में 2 पद्धति है, एक प्रीहित लाभ पद्धति है, जिसके आधार पर जीवन अपने को सदा सदा ये सोचता है हम ठीक कर रहे हैं, जो 4.5 क्रिया ही अपने को सही मानता है। तो जिसके आधार पर हम संवेदनशीलता के रूप में काम करना बन गया है।
So the first way of weighing is the way of preference, health, and profit. And when we function, when we weigh based on preference, health, and profit, then we believe that functioning within this 4.5 suffices, and that this is enough. And this is nothing but our functioning within the realm of sensitivity. Actually, I'm considering the new word for Samvedanshilta. Maybe sentience is a good word, because sentience also has to do with sensitive and using your sense organ. So when we feel that sentience is enough or sensitivity is enough for our functioning, that is the way of that is our weighing on the basis of just preference, health, and profit.
संवेदनशीलता के रूप में काम करना बन गया है। संवेदनशीलता इंद्रिय मूलक होता है, शरीर मूलक होता है, जबकि इंद्रिय और शरीर को जीवंत बनाने का काम जीवन करता है।
In this way, we have become accustomed to working through sensitivity or just pure sentience. Whereas sentience or sensitivity is a functioning rooted in our sense organs, or rather our body. So, whereas even the body and the sense organ is being run and governed by the Jeevan itself.
जबकि इंद्रिय और शरीर को जीवंत बनाने का काम जीवन करता है। देखिए कितना।
Sorry, whereas both the sense organs and the body are being kept alive by the Jeevan itself. Not governed.
एक सोचने की बात है, समझने की बात है। जीवन यदि शरीर को जीवंत नहीं बनाया जाए, जीवन में कोई ऐसा काम नहीं होता है, संवेदनशील काम ही नहीं होता है। इसको स्वाभाविक रूप में हम ये देखते हैं।
So this is something worth thinking about, something worth understanding, that if the Jeevan were to not keep the body alive, then our body and our sense organs will not work at all.
जीवन यदि शरीर को जीवंत नहीं बनाया जाए, जीवन में कोई ऐसा काम नहीं होता है, संवेदनशील काम ही नहीं होता है। इसको स्वाभाविक रूप में हम ये देखते हैं, ये आदमी जहाँ कहीं भी बेहोश होता है, उस समय में आँख कान नाक का कोई काम होता नहीं, और मरने की बात तो होते ही नहीं।
We experience this in a very natural and simple way when we look at someone who is unconscious. In that state, their eyes, nose, ears, taste, tongue, basically none of these are functioning. And when they are dead, they definitely stop functioning. So it is the Jeevan that is keeping them, alive, basically. And when the Jeevan becomes unconscious, when the Jeevan and the body's connection becomes changed in any way, even the sensitivity and the signals of the sense organs basically disappear.
तो ये सब आप हर दिन आए दिन देखते ही रहते हैं। तो इससे ये हमको पता लगा है कि जीवंत बनाए रखने का काम जीवन ही बनाए रखता है। जीवंत बनाए रखा हुआ चीज को जीवन मान लेता है। यही मूल भ्रम है।
So this is something that you and I, all of us, see and experience on an everyday sort of basis. And what we see is that it is this Jeevan that is keeping the body alive. And this Jeevan which is keeping the body alive comes to think of the body itself as the Jeevan. And this is the fundamental delusion, which is the Jeevan is thinking of the body as the Jeevan, which it is itself keeping alive. Okay.
Would you say aliveness of the body we are confusing as Jeevan, and not the body only, but the aliveness of the body, which is made possible because of this entity called life, we are confusing with life itself.
Yeah. So basically because the aliveness of the biological system, we are mistaking for this conscious entity. Whereas even, there's a difference between the two, between this biological organ, basically biological composition being alive, and the entity which is conscious. So it is this conscious entity which is keeping the biological entity alive. Yeah, but because, it's worth thinking about what this aliveness is. I think there have been lots of conversations and discussions throughout the human tradition about what aliveness is, what consciousness is. Are they interchangeable? Biological plants seem to be alive also. They're living and breathing. But are they conscious? And, the confusion between sentience and you're basically breathing and reproducing, growth, biology. This is something which is confusing. And what he's saying, this Jeevat Banaye Rakhna has to do with keeping it functioning and keeping it alive, in the sense of that, they are able to send signals to this Jeevan.
Yeah.
जीवन अपने को शरीर को जीवन मान लेना है कुल मिलाकर के भ्रम का मूल गठन है। शरीर को जीवन मानने के पश्चात शरीर के अनुसार चलना बाध्यता होता है। यही मान्यता के आधार पर चलने के आधार है। और
So this Jeevan, considering the body to be the Jeevan, is the basic configuration of all delusions. And because if you think of this body as the Jeevan, then it becomes a compulsion to take all our decisions and do everything according to the body. And this becomes a basic compulsion.
शरीर को जीवन मानने के पश्चात शरीर के अनुसार चलना बाध्यता होता है। यही मान्यता के आधार पर चलने के आधार है।
And this is the basis for functioning according to our beliefs. Basically, beliefs in this case is talking about beliefs that are faith, basically, without any understanding, just blind faith.
तो कुछ है ही नहीं, कुछ भी हम समझाने जाते हैं अधूरा ही होना है, अभी तक जैसा हो गए हैं ये स्वयं गवाह है। अभी तक 20 प्रकार से मनुष्य जो है ना जीवन को समझाने की कोशिश किया, सारा बात अंततोगत्वा जाकर के शरीर ही जीवन है, इसको मानने की पक्ष में ही 99% और ज्यादा प्रतिशत लोग आज भी यथावत शरीर को जीवन मानते हैं।
And therefore, we haven't been able to understand or explain what the Jeevan is. Whenever humans have gone about, therefore, to try and explain what the Jeevan is, they have always ended up speaking in favor of this Jeevan actually being the body itself. This is what 99% or even more people continue to believe even to this date.
ये भ्रम का मूल तथ्य यहाँ से है। अब होना क्या चाहिए? जीवन को जीवन माना जाए, शरीर को।
And this is the basic fact of our delusions. Now, what should the case be? The case, what it should be is that the Jeevan should be recognized as the Jeevan and the body should be recognized as the body.
को शरीर माना जाए, शरीर का भी मूल्यांकन हो और प्रयोजन के आधार पर, और जीवन का भी मूल्यांकन हो प्रयोजन के आधार पर। सीधी बात ये।
Now the body needs to be evaluated on the basis of purpose, and the Jeevan also needs to be evaluated on the basis of purpose. This is the simple, straightforward process.
यदि जीवन और शरीर का मूल्यांकन प्रयोजनों के आधार पर होता है, तब मानव संज्ञा में हम जीना बनता है। मानव संज्ञा में जीने के आधार पर हम
When we are able to evaluate the Jeevan and the body as they are, then we are able to live as this human being. Manav Sangya, as in this full noun that refers to the human being.
तब मानव संज्ञा में हम जीना बनता है। मानव संज्ञा में जीने के आधार पर हमारा जीने की तरीके में बदलाव आता है। यदि ये दोनों मूल्यांकित होने की स्थिति में, ये मूल्यांकित नहीं होता है,
And on the basis of living as a human being, we find that there is a change in our living. This happens through values and evaluation.
मानव संज्ञा में जीने के आधार पर हमारा जीने की तरीके में बदलाव आता है। यदि ये दोनों मूल्यांकित होने की स्थिति में, ये मूल्यांकित नहीं होता है तो
Sorry. On the basis of living as a human being, we are able to see the changes in the way we live. If we are able to evaluate both of these things. If we are unable to evaluate both of these,
मानव व्यवस्था के रूप में तो जिएगा नहीं, कहीं ना कहीं अव्यवस्था की परेशानी रहेगा ही, कहीं ना कहीं रहवे करेगा। इसको चाहे अपन मानो।
If we are unable to evaluate the Jeevan and the body in terms of purpose, then humans will be unable to live will at least be unable to live in an orderly manner. There will be some sort of disorder in some way or the other. The problem of disorder will continue to persist in some way or the other.
रहेगा ही, कहीं ना कहीं रहवे करेगा। इसको चाहे अपन मानो ना मानो, व्यवस्था में जीना तो प्रमाणित होगा नहीं। व्यवस्था में जीने के लिए ठोक बजाओ मूल्यांकन ये।
So this order रहेगा नहीं रहेगा is because, say that again, why did
So if we are
come up from?
So if we are unable to understand, evaluate what the body is, what its purpose is, what the Jeevan is, what its purpose is, we will be unable to live as humans. And when we are unable to live as humans, basically what that means is we are unable to live in an orderly manner. We will be ridden with some sort of disorder in some aspects of our lives for sure. whether we believe it or we don't believe it. There is no avoiding this.
Some conflict. Some
Yeah.
order.
Yeah.
Disorder.
Disorder
Okay.
is basically lack of harmony, disharmony. Disharmony is conflict, whether it's external or internal, and it is usually both.
Okay. That's because you have not recognized Jeevan. Obviously.
And when we don't recognize the Jeevan, that automatically means we have not recognized the body either. So either we are over-evaluating the body or completely mis-evaluating the body. And sometimes we also under-evaluate the body. Like one whole way of thinking, this entire idealism often leads to this thinking that the body is also for nothing and I am also for nothing. And actually I need to get rid of both of these and, become one with whatever, God or whatever this ideal entity is. So that is an under-evaluation of the body. So actually, it is only upon understanding the Jeevan that you also recognize the value of the body. So you are able to recognize the body and its value and recognize the Jeevan and its value, then you will function according to this value of both. You will, in your living, we will then try to ensure that these values are, lived out, upheld, that it doesn't get misused. Because how do we know what misuse or correct use is if we don't know what its purpose is, right? So whether this is good for our body or that is good for our body, even that much we can't really know until we know what the body is for. And similarly, of course, for the Jeevan. And therefore also all human beings, so this is about ourselves, then other human beings also, we don't know what their purpose is, what their value is, and therefore how should we treat them? How should we be treated? All of this comes from our lack of understanding of the Jeevan and the body. So that's what he's talking about.
ये ना तो प्रमाणित होगा नहीं। व्यवस्था में जीने के लिए ठोक बजाओ मूल्यांकन यही है, शरीर का भी मूल्यांकन हो उपयोगिता के आधार पर और जीवन का भी मूल्यांकन हो प्रयोजनों के आधार पर। और शरीर
So no matter what we do, without evaluating the two of them, we will not be able to live in an orderly manner. And if we want to live in an orderly manner, then thok bajao. It means that be very exact and be very particular about our evaluation. Be very, very specific in your evaluation. This is what the Jeevan is. And this is what the body is. Understand the body in terms of its utility. That is the evaluation of the body. And evaluate the Jeevan in terms of its purposes. We have to be very, very specific and very, very exact in both of them.
जीवन के लिए उपयोगी वस्तु है, इसमें दो राय नहीं है। इसको हमने अच्छी तरह से देखा है। क्या उपयोगिता है पूछोगे तो एक ही बात से निकलती है। तो जीवन अपने जागृति को मानव परंपरा में प्रमाणित करने के लिए उपयोगी है मानव शरीर, इतने ही बनता है इसके योग।
So what is the utility of the human body? The human body is useful for the Jeevan. There are no two ways about this. And what is this utility? Then the utility of the body is that it is only in the human tradition with the human body that the Jeevan is able to evidence its awakening, evidence its knowledge. That is the only answer that can be formed for this question.
योगी बना हुआ है जिसमें मानव का कोई इतने ही बनता है। इसके योगी बना हुआ है जिसमें मानव का कोई योगदान नहीं है, बिना योगदान की बनी हुई है। मानव शरीर को थोड़ी मानव बनाया है, कुछ नहीं बनाया।
And this human body has been made capable of this, and that has happened naturally. It is not humans that have made this human body capable of evidencing our awakening. Our human body was naturally built capable of evidencing human awakening, Jeevan's awakening.
बिना योगदान की बनी हुई है। मानव शरीर को थोड़ी ही मानव बनाया है, कुछ नहीं बनाया, कोई आदमी नहीं बनाया, किंतु मानव शरीर बनता ही है। बनने की विधि आप हमको विदित है, बनने की स्थली।
So this human body capable of evidencing human Jeevan's awakening is made without any human contribution, made this way without any human contribution. And it is not us or anyone else who has made it. And the way it is made is already known to us all. And we are also aware of where this happens.
ये हमको विदित है। इस विधि से हम मानव शरीर रचना के बारे में हम अच्छी तरह से समझ गए हैं। कैसा बनता है ये भी पता है, जिस स्थली में बनता है वो भी पता है, और शरीर रचना के पश्चात जब कभी भी शिशु रूप में मनुष्य प्राप्त होता है वो जीवनते मिलता है। मुख्य बात।
So regarding this composition of our body, we are already well versed, and we know how it is made, we know where it is made, and upon the birth of the child, when the child is born, it is always found to be alive.
स्थली में बनता है वो भी पता है, और शरीर रचना के पश्चात जब कभी भी शिशु रूप में मनुष्य प्राप्त होता है वो जीवनते मिलता है।
Right. And after the formation of the body, after the body is composed, whenever the infant is begotten, it is always begotten alive.
की बात यहाँ से है। जीवन शिशु के मिलने के बाद हम सोचते हैं ये शरीर है, जीवन है, जो देखने वाला अभिभावक भी ऐसे मान लेता है। तो जो
Sorry, I was distracted by the camera person's focus. And after begetting the child, even the parents believe that what has been begotten, this body itself, is the Jeevan. So it's not only us ourselves who believe that the body is our Jeevan. Even our parents, when they get the infant in hand, they also believe that it is the body that is the Jeevan.
ये शरीर है, जीवन है, जो देखने वाला अभिभावक भी ऐसे मान लेता है। तो जो स्वयं थोड़ा दिन के बाद वो शिशु भी ऐसे ही मानने लगता है। इस ढंग से परंपरा अपने आप में फंसने का जुगाड़ ऐसा बनी हुई है, रेखा ऐसी बनी हुई।
So the parent who sees the infant starts to believe that the body is the Jeevan, and after a few days, that child themselves also begins to believe that the body is its Jeevan. And this great method for mechanism to become trapped is built into our tradition in this way.
इसको क्या करेंगे भाई? करेंगे इस प्रकार से, जो अभिभावक पहले समझने की आवश्यकता है। जो शरीर गर्भाशय में रचित होता है ये सबको विदित होती है, और वो शरीर को चलाने के लिए जीवन रहता ही है। प्रकृति में कोई ना कोई जीवन ऐसा शरीर को चलाता है। वो चलाने की क्रम तब से कब से होता है ये भी पूछा जाता है। शरीर शास्त्र के अनुसार शरीर को निरीक्षण परीक्षण करने की स्थिति में जब कभी
so the solution to this trap mechanism for this tradition being trapped is that the parents need to understand first, and then they can understand how the body forms and where the Jeevan is, and that when the body is forming, then an appropriate Jeevan will begin to run the body. But the fact that the body is not the Jeevan. Sorry, this was very long. I'm not sure what I'm saying.
को चलाने के लिए जीवन रहता ही है। प्रकृति में कोई ना कोई जीवन ऐसा शरीर को चलाता है। वो चलाने की क्रम तब से कब से होता है ये भी पूछा जाता है।
So the body is formed and composed in the way that we already know, and the Jeevan that will run this body already exists in nature, and such a Jeevan will begin to run the body. And when does such a Jeevan start to run the body? That question has also been asked.
जाता है शरीर शास्त्र के अनुसार शरीर को निरीक्षण परीक्षण करने की स्थिति में जब कभी पेट में बच्चे होते हैं, जब से हलडोल शुरू करते हैं, तब से जीवन शरीर को संचालित करना शुरू करता है। यह संभवतः ये
So according to physiology or biology, based on studying and observation and experiments, what has been understood is that when the infant in the womb begins to move around, that is when the Jeevan has entered in the body. I started to run the body. Yeah.
हलडोल शुरू करते हैं, तब से जीवन शरीर को संचालित करना शुरू करता है। यह संभवतः ये चौथे पांचवें महीने में ये घटना संभावित होता है, अथवा पांचवें छठवें महीने।
And this possibly begins in the 4th or the 5th month, or possibly even in the 5th or the 6th month.
में होता है। तो इसको हम यदि ध्यान से देखा जाए, शरीर और जीवन का जो संयोजन है, एक माने संचालित करने का मिलन है, गर्भाशय में ही हो जाता है। ये मुख्य बात है। ये भी
So if we pay attention to this, if we look at this very carefully, this coming together of the Jeevan and the body, this occurs within the womb itself. That is the main point.
अपने को ध्यान में
Which is something we must
रखने की मुद्दा है।
keep in mind.
और जीवन जो है ना, शरीर नहीं है, इस बात को पहचानने के लिए यही है, शरीर की कोई भी अंग अवयव में न तो न्याय का प्रतीक्षा है, न ही व्यवस्था का प्रतीक्षा है, सत्य का तो प्रतीक्षा दिल्ली दूर है। इन तीनों का प्रतीक्षा
the fact that the Jeevan is not the body, in order to understand this, we need only see that there is no part or organ of the body which awaits justice or which awaits order, and certainly it does no part or organ awaits truth. So that is all that we need to see in order to recognize that the Jeevan is not the body. I'm wondering if we should pause here because it's past 30.
I was also thinking that.
Oh.
All right, that sounds okay. Yeah, this is a very serious one today.
Yeah. Very
Soul searching.
And yes, I could concentrate also very well today. So I'm
Even
also
I.
happy. Yeah.
Even me. Okay.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting bit also. Okay, so let's meet tomorrow then.
Yes.
We'll continue this bit.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.